The whole intro to this video was shot entirely handheld. I've gone over this topic before in a video, and despite being one of the more popular videos on this channel, it isn't very good. So in this video, I want to give you a few more techniques to get smooth handheld footage in all of my videos. Disclaimer, I am about to talk about a whole bunch of technical camera stuff. If you want to skip all this, you can skip to the timestamp right here, or you can click the timestamp in the description. I want to start out by talking about the lens that you use and the settings that you use on your camera body. Lenses and cameras usually come with a variety of different options for stabilization, whether this is optical image stabilization, IBIS, vibration compensation, vibration reduction, or just image stabilization. It all foundationally does the exact same thing. It controls camera shake to produce sharper looking images. Your lens might have a switch on the side that allows you to turn on optical image stabilization. What this does is it controls the path of the light onto the sensor to compensate for all of the little micro jitters and shakes that come from shooting handheld. This is done by using sensors to detect how the camera shakes and then calculating how the lens needs to move to counteract that. This option is found on most lenses nowadays and even some higher end smartphones. IBIS is in-body image stabilization. This is when the sensor of your camera detects vibration and then literally moves itself around to compensate for all the little shakes. This option is found in a lot of Panasonic cameras and most higher-end Sony cameras. If these options aren't available to you, you can use digital image stabilization, which is all software, and move your image around to compensate for all the shakes. And because it needs room to move around, it does result in a very minor crop. This is what my camera has, and I always have this option turned on unless I'm doing a stationary shot like this one. Shooting in a higher frame rate slows down any of the shakes and makes them less noticeable. This is why you'll notice that in most of the B-roll I shoot, it is slow motion. So we've spent the past few minutes talking about technical stuff about cameras and lenses. So now let's talk about techniques you can do while you're shooting. One thing you should note is that gimbals make really dynamic camera motions. Don't attempt these handheld. It will seem jerky and unnatural, so just know your limitations when shooting handheld. The first tip I have is points of contact. If you are holding the camera with two hands, then you have 2 points of contact. A great way to add a third point of contact is holding the camera with two hands and then holding your camera body against your human body. This gives you 3 points of contact, your two hands and your body. Another effective way of doing this that I see done a lot is using the camera strap, pulling it tight, and then moving the camera that way. This adds 4 points of contact. Your two hand and the two sides where the camera strap is attached to. If you shoot looking through your camera's viewfinder, you have a third point of contact. This is a great way of doing it because you can see exactly what you're shooting while stabilizing your shot. Do the method that feels more comfortable to you. A common mistake I see when people are shooting handheld is using their upper body to move the camera. What you should be doing is locking your arms in place and then leaning to one side or forward and backward to move the camera. This is a better way than using your hands to pull in and pull out. When you're doing this, you want to be focused on one specific point and try to keep that point in the center of the frame. The reason your eyes aren't shaky is because they're always locked on one specific point. They're also basically gimbals. My final tip for all of you is using warp stabilizer. If you followed all these tips, then warp stabilizer used in moderation will look incredible. The common mistake I see is that people bring shaky footage into the editing software, then crank up warp stabilizer and expect that to fix all of the camera shakes. If you do that, it'll look bad. Don't do that. Instead, having already somewhat smooth footage and then using warp stabilizer in moderation will look so good. It'll make your already smooth footage look even smoother. In After Effects, there are ways to make tracking points and stabilize your clip that way, but that is a really in-depth process that I don't know too much about. If you want an in-depth tutorial about that, let me know in the comments and I can try to learn and make one. One last thing I should say. Don't let the pursuit of getting smooth camera motions prevent you from being creative with the kind of shots that you get. That being said, I hope you learned something from this video. Hope you enjoyed it or found some kind of value from it. If you did, please show your support by liking this video, and if you want to continue to support my work, please subscribe to this channel. I post a new filmmaking tutorial every single week. So that's it for this week. Stay creative. I'll see you guys in the next one.